Lenovo Legion Pro 5i review. If you saw those new target prices and panicked, don't. Those are the guide MSRPs for the current base configuration of the Lenovo Legion 5i. But almost every model of this laptop is on sale at various prices across all regions the majority of the time. You can realistically expect to spend closer to $1,350/£1,296/2,399 Australian dollars. The updated model we're looking at now is largely the same as last year's iteration, reviewed below, with the only significant difference being an upgrade to the CPU specifically, a step up from 13th Gen to 14th Gen Intel Core CPUs, starting with the i5-14500HX in the base configuration and going all the way up to the i9-14900HX. Beyond that, there's not much else to say. The processor bump should help to alleviate the CPU underperformance issues we noted in our review, while the gorgeous WXQGA display, available in HDR400 configurations, remains a highlight. If you're looking for a new gaming laptop that won't look out of place in the office, this is a good shout. Unlike the Lenovo Legion Pro 7i that was released earlier this year, the Lenovo Legion Pro 5i is a much more affordable gaming laptop that offers excellent performance for its price point. It comes in two separate types, the Legion Pro 5i outfitted with an Intel CPU and the Legion Pro 5 which comes with an AMD CPU. Both versions use an NVIDIA 4000 series GPU. As AMD, the cheapest configuration you can nab without having to customize one yourself is about $1,259.99/£1,410, including VAT/2,499 Australian dollars, which is far more affordable than most of the best gaming laptops on the market, while still commanding respectable specs. Just as many of the other desktop replacements we've seen in 2023, this one comes in the standard black color with nothing particularly interesting about its shape and design. The chassis feels decently sturdy, with a nice metal finish on the top of the laptop. Opening it, the keyboard keys are more uniquely shaped, with a roundness to them you normally don't see. It makes typing a bit weird at first until you adjust to it. The trackpad is pretty solid in terms of sensitivity, and I'm always a fan of mechanical feedback versus haptic feedback. It has an excellent, well-balanced 16-inch WQXGA 2560x1600 display, with a choice to upgrade to HDR and from 165Hz to 240Hz refresh rate. For most gamers, the difference doesn't matter, and if you're purchasing this laptop in particular to save money, then you can do without the pricier upgrade. I also enjoy the fact that there's a manual switch to turn the webcam off and on, which is lacking in the vast majority of laptops, though I wish it linked up to a physical shutter instead. There are two downsides to the Legion Pro 5i, however. The first is the audio, specifically how low it is. Of course, you could mitigate this by simply using a headset, but the fact that the speakers are so quiet compared to every other laptop I've reviewed in 2023 so far is a huge inconvenience. The second issue is the placement of the keyboard and trackpad. Both feel like they're too far to the left, requiring you to adjust to the orientation. Until you do, typos and mispresses are commonplace. This isn't much of an issue if you use a controller or mouse, but for those who use a keyboard for gaming or productivity work, this could be an issue. I received two personal review units. The first came with the Intel Core i7-13700HX and the second with an AMD Ryzen 7 7745HX. Both come with an NVIDIA GPU, as AMD hasn't yet released gaming laptops with mobile processors. The Intel and AMD CPUs are mostly comparable in theory, but in practice, the Ryzen 7 7745HX completely blows the i7-13700HX out of the water in every benchmark. Despite these differences, the Lenovo Legion Pro 5i's gaming performance is excellent, handling any of the best PC games easily, including Cyberpunk 2077 at max settings and ray tracing on while maintaining 60 frames per second on average. Other titles like Final Fantasy VII Remake and Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered also look and run great, with very little slowdown at max settings. The former is able to lock in at 60 frames per second when the option is chosen, while the latter consistently stays above that with the proper frame rate settings. The Lenovo Legion Pro 5i sits firmly in the affordable market of gaming laptops, never quite dipping down to budget levels but still a well-rounded choice for those wanting great gaming performance for a solid price. The price is especially impressive for a gaming laptop with a 4000 series GPU and a 13th gen CPU. It's available in the US, UK, and Australia, with a nice range of configurations for each region. The US has the most choices, with several models available for purchase as well as an option to customize your laptop, while the UK and Australia only have the preset models. It's difficult to compare to other gaming laptops in the 2023 market, as many of them are meant to either be super expensive desktop replacements or ultra-cheap laptops. The Legion Pro 5i is meant as an affordable option that sits in mid-range pricing. The closest are the Alienware M18 and the Asus ROG Zephyrus M16, which are nearly double the price but feature the best specs in return. The specs for the Lenovo Legion Pro 5i review unit sent to me are as follows: Intel Core i7-13700HX CPU, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4060 8GB GDDR6 GPU, 16GB DDR5 RAM, 512GB SSD of storage, and a 16-inch WQXGA 2560x1600 display with 100% sRGB, 300 nits, and 165 Hz. I was also sent a Lenovo Legion Pro 5 for comparison, which features the following specs: AMD Ryzen 7 7745HX CPU, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4070 8GB GDDR6 GPU, 16GB DDR5 RAM, 512GB SSD of storage, and a 16-inch WQXGA 2560x1600 display with 100% sRGB, 300 nits, and 165 Hz. Like the Pro 7, the Legion Pro 5 comes in two main types: the Legion Pro 5i outfitted with an Intel CPU, and the Legion Pro 5 with an AMD CPU. The Lenovo Legion Pro 5i comes in several configurations depending on the region. The main difference in configurations will have you choose between Intel Core i5-13500HX and i9-13900HX CPUs, between the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4050 and RTX 4070 GPUs, RAM, storage, and displays. Only those in the US can configure their laptop based on several specs. Those in the UK and Australia can only choose from the available models, with no customization options.